Brock Lesnar is back, and with AEW drawing less money than a 5-star match at the G1, All Elite Press Secretary Dave Meltzer is not having it. The one-sided newsletter stooge took one step closer to a wrestlestroke because WWE, a wrestling promotion, brought back a guy who appeared in a lawsuit where he wasn't even named as a defendant? The fuck? Brock Lesnar is getting heat from the IWV because he's sexual misconduct adjacent? How long till they start trying to cancel anybody who read the lawsuit? Brock sat out the past 2 years, but in an era where virtue signalers spit in the face of forgiveness, Meltzer wanted one of WWE's biggest stars ever to rot on a mustard farm in Saskatchewan because of allegations. Ugh, fuck me. Thankfully, the cancel culture crowd has no backbone, and those who tried to turn sponsors against Brock Lesnar failed the way Dave Meltzer fails a "which one of these tweets came from a bot" exam. As of this writing, no sponsor has jumped off the WrestleMania 37 ship. In fact, WWE just added a whole company full of sponsors when they signed a $1.6 billion deal with ESPN. If the Disney people are okay with Brock Lesnar and WWE, then the Disney adults who are trying to cancel him don't have a baby Bambi leg to stand on. Out here barely able to walk on those Disney legs. Google it, that's a great joke. Today, we're gonna talk about Dave Meltzer's epic 65-year-old crash out over Brock Lesnar, how it failed so bad it turned him into a whole meme, and why I have zero problem with any wrestling promotion putting controversial figures on TV. Then we'll talk about who else could show up on WWE TV in the ESPN era. Subscribe in Swahili. Brock Lesnar showed up at SummerSlam to the biggest reaction of the weekend. Don't believe me? Just ask WWE on Netflix when they quoted me. MetLife Stadium popped unanimously. They even chanted "holy shit" as he walked to the ring, shades of Lesnar's OG return in 2012. I ask you, the beastly PWB subscriber, if you were mad that Brock Lesnar was back. 83% of you said no. I'm proud of you anti-sickos, just like I'm proud of MetLife Stadium. These people aren't pro-sexual misconduct. They weren't chanting "we want Vince." They weren't chanting "Janelle's a liar." They were freaking out over one of the biggest stars pro wrestling has ever seen because they spent that SummerSlam money to have a good time. Basically, they popped for strictly business reasons. Plus, if they really thought Brock Lesnar was a predator, he'd be president by now. Life is complicated. Entertainment is complicated, but it's not that complicated. More times than not, if you're a polarizing wrestler, especially for real-life reasons, I need you on TV. This year, you, the sarcastic PWB subscriber, voted in the March Monsters bracket of the most controversial figures in wrestling history. No less than half of them are in the Hall of Fame. Tessa Blanchard was a 2 seed. TBH, I want Tessa in WWE or AEW because of the real-life heat it would generate. We don't really see that with heels anymore. The heat is so manufactured and make-believe, and it leads to less compelling feuds, promos, and matches between babyfaces and heels. Tessa getting booed by legit pissed fans would be a spectacle that I would happily pay to see. And it's not that serious. Once upon a time, when you were problematic in Rome, motherfuckers would pay to see you die in an amphitheater. Twitter's toothless outrage against Brock Lesnar has done nothing but add to an aura that makes him the perfect foil for John Cena, who has reverted back to being a white meat babyface in winter. As the king of black wrestling media and one of the best stand-up comedians in the country, I assume every artist has something fucked up about him. The more talented you are, the more screwed up the secret is. What's screwed up about me, you ask? Well, to be honest, sometimes I just work too hard. Anyway, me and a couple of comedian friends have a celebrity cancellation pool where each of us draft a team of celebrities we think are gonna get canceled. If they get canceled, you get 5 points. If you correctly predict what they get canceled for, it's 10 extra points. I drafted Sabrina Carpenter, so when Sabrina Carpenter gets canceled, that's 5 points for your boy. If she gets canceled for a meme coin scam, that's 15 points for the king of black wrestling media. Let's go! I'm currently in first place, thank you Snow White, but my friend Martin drafted Sydney Sweeney, so I feel like it's about to be close. We'll be right back.
Pro Wrestling Bits.
If you still get surprised every time a public figure gets in trouble for fucking up, that's on you. I expect celebrities to be criticized, canceled, and come back. There's something inherently wrong with every human being, especially people who pursue a life of fame and fortune. They live a public life, so whenever they slip up, all the jealous NPCs come at them with everything but talent. It's easy to judge a public figure when you're anonymous. All of Hollywood is basically 3 degrees of Harvey Weinstein, but I still watch the fuck out of Naked Gun. Great movie. I understand the difference between right and wrong. I also understand how little that means when it comes to business. I also understand how it doesn't mean shit when it comes to the wrestling business. The average person doesn't spend their money on morals. They spend it on fast food and Fireball and edibles and gambling debts and guns and butter and cobalt batteries and pollutant hair dye and, yes, a wrestler under a multi-million-dollar contract who guest starred in a sex trafficking lawsuit. I don't watch wrestling to win a Nobel Peace Prize. And if you want morals with your Mondays, maybe go watch Gandhi grab a hold. What happened? Why did the music stop? Oh, Gandhi got canceled too. That's right. Damn it. I knew I should have drafted him. If Dave Meltzer thinks you're wrong to cheer for Brock Lesnar, that aging fuck doesn't know business. He's one trunk short of being the star of a Dumbo reboot with a mastodon earlobes and that wrinkled ashy leather skin. Dave doesn't think sports fans care about sexual misconduct. Okay, then riddle me this, Sling Blade. Why do you keep making all those calls to Andrew Jackass with your smartphone? Do you not realize that phone was made with a cobalt battery built by child slaves in the Congo? By that logic, Dave Meltzer doesn't care about black children and he supports slavery. Actually, as a 65-year-old with a Twitter addiction and a Japanese fetish, he probably doesn't care about black children. Plus, he's got ears big enough to hear a slave sneak out, but you get my point. The Wrestling Observer account posted a tweet of Derpy Dave calling WWE a sleazy company. And when I tell you they deleted that tweet like it was Meltzer's marriage,
this is a very sleazy company, okay? And they are going to do very sleazy things.
If WWE is a sleazy company and Dave Meltzer makes money off the sleazy company through his parasitic newsletter, what does that make him? Dave stood on business only to sit his ass down. And since then, the Observer slashed their price, probably due to unsubscribers who didn't want to be lectured by the winner of a Harvey Weinstein lookalike contest about what wrestler they can cheer for in their free time. A similar tweet was deleted by the AARP president of Whiteful. The lesson here is never to give in or apologize to weak slacktivists whose love language is cyberbullying. After enough time passes, they'll find something else to fake cry about and you'll be fine. They're like those Dementors from Harry Potter who die at the sight of happiness. They're not changing anything in the world but the number of tweets. And when I'm president, if you've tweeted 100,000 times or more, me and my African government will shut your shit down until you take a mental health exam as a preemptive measure against possible mass shooters. There's a term for people who tweet 100,000 times or more. Potential gunmen at the Build-A-Bear. Except y'all all right. Tweet all you want, as long as you subtweet in Swahili. Dementor Dave rallied his brainwashed Observer supporters to call the sponsors and get Brock Lesnar canceled. But in the words of Paul M.F. Heyman,
if they're critics of it, get over it. He's here. And he's going to be here. And you ain't going to be able to cancel him. And I'm happy to have him back because the audience is happy to have him back.
One of the more unintentionally hilarious moments to come out of Dave Meltzer's rambling about Brock Lesnar is Meltzer trying to make fun of all the people who dared to get excited about his return.
Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Wait, how did that go, Dementor Dave?
Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Hey Dave, what's the first thing you think to yourself when you see child slaves in Africa suffering to build your iPhone?
Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Hey Dave, what did you say the first time you dyed your hair Budokan black?
Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Don't feel bad if Brock Lesnar's return made you feel good. In fact, here's a highlight reel of anti-woman reaction channels showing out for Beastie.
John Cena.
Beastie! Stop! Beastie!
What?
I'm gonna cry!
Oh my God! What? Oh! No fucking way! No fucking way is that Brock Lesnar right now!
Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Every attempt to cancel Brock Lesnar is feeble, temporary, and comes from miserable Twitter trolls who have all the conviction of an indoor cat. Dave Meltzer rambles for hours on end about 10 different subjects before he even lets his co-host speak. And when the co-host does speak, ADH Dave just interrupts him all over again. He has almost 150,000 tweets and a terrible case of ADD. How long do you think he's going to commit to the bit of getting Brock Lesnar canceled?
Has there been any sign, even quietly, of sponsor unease over Lesnar's return, similar to the Slim Jim situation?
I've seen nothing.
Yes, David. Now shut the fuck up and go play Inside on South African Twitter with all those bots that Uncle Elon botted you. Lesnar's return has Davey Weinstein spooked about a possible Vince McMahon return. I'm not advocating for that whatsoever, but Dave is putting Vince's name out there to make it seem like Brock and Vince's fuck shit are on the same level. No, David, they're not. Stop it. Get some help. You're not Gloria Steinem. Nobody fancies you as a feminist. A simple Google search will reveal weird things you said about women in the past decade. Your quote, woman friends who are anti-Brock are about as real as the AI you bicker with. But to be fair, those women probably went to another school. Don't ever let Dave Meltzer or any Statler and Waldorf looking ass crackers speak on behalf of women. He writes a newsletter to make a living, for Christ's sake. And like the product in Dave Meltzer's hair, it's just for men. Check out this video and subscribe. Are you happy to see Brock Lesnar again? I am. Tell me in the comments!